The mission was covert, the target lethal, and the operation was spiraling into disaster. The team leader desperately pleaded with his snipers for one clean shot, but every attempt failed. The visuals were blurred, the wind relentless, the target moving. Everyone whispered, "Impossible." When the team leader's eyes landed on the young woman sitting in the corner of the room, often dismissed for being too pretty, no one expected anything from her, perhaps a word of encouragement, but she calmly reached for the rifle. So how did this woman, against all odds, become the operation's sole hope? And why did that shot become one of the most unforgettable moments in military history? This story will force you to confront your prejudices. In the dimly lit, highly classified operations room, tension hung in the air like a palpable scent. Screens projected blurry, grainy images from a remote terrorist camp in the mountainous terrain of Afghanistan. The mission was simple, yet nearly impossible: to silently neutralize one of the region's most dangerous terrorist leaders without civilian casualties. Major David Miller, the team leader, hunched over the maps, sweat dripping from his forehead. Facing him were the three most experienced members of the sniper unit: Captain Barnes, Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, and Sergeant Chen. All of them were true heroes who had repeatedly made seemingly impossible shots. But at that moment, everything was going wrong. The wind was far stronger than predicted, and the dust storm had reduced visibility to zero. The visuals kept cutting out, and the target was constantly moving. Captain Barnes reported into the comms with a hoarse voice, "Target not acquired, sir. Wind is too strong. Visibility is zero. No clean shot." Staff Sergeant Rodriguez shook his head. "Impossible, Major. Even if we lock on to the target, the wind will carry the bullet off course." Sergeant Chen sighed in frustration. Only a ghost could make a shot like this. In a corner of the room, there was a figure whose presence usually went unnoticed by most: Lieutenant Anya Sharma. She was young, in her late 20s, known for her long auburn hair and striking beauty. Despite her exceptional achievements in military academy and basic marksmanship training, a whisper always followed her among her teammates and some commanders. Social media soldier, more photogenic. What use is she in the field? Anya had gained fame for her beauty, her poses in military uniform, earning thousands of likes on social media. This often led to her being assigned to more ceremonial duties, kept away from real field operations. Once, a commander even mocked her. "Lieutenant Sharma, you're our best-looking soldier. Don't bother yourself with field duty." Anya heard these whispers and taunts, but always remained silent, returning to her assigned tasks. She was only present in this mission as an observer. Major Miller's eyes, desperately scanning the maps on the table, accidentally fell upon Anya. She was sitting in the corner, almost like an invisible shadow. The major expected nothing from her, perhaps just a word of encouragement, or maybe for her to take notes. But Anya had not taken her eyes off the blurred image on the screen. On her face, there was an expression Major Miller had never seen before: a cold certainty. As Major Miller's gaze lingered on Anya, the tension in the room intensified. The team leader, with a last shred of hope, asked Anya, "Do you have any ideas?" His voice carried more desperation than mockery. Anya's calmness in the midst of the room's panic was like the eye of a storm. The other snipers were surprised by the major's question, some whispering, "Her? What could she do?" Captain Barnes grumbled, "Major, we don't have time. We need someone more experienced." Staff Sergeant Rodriguez frowned, saying, "This shot is impossible. A photogenic person can't pull this off." Anya heard all these whispers and taunts, but didn't respond. Her eyes remained fixed only on the blurred target on the screens. "Did you read the wind direction?" Anya asked, her voice so low that everyone had to listen more carefully. "The target's movement speed and escape route."
There was a momentary clearing in the thermal imagery at 0247, precisely in the direction the wind was blowing. The team was stunned. None of them had noticed that detail. Major Miller frowned. "What are you talking about, Lieutenant? Our visuals didn't show anything like that." Anya stood up. "Mine did, Major, and that was our only chance for a shot. Not now." "Give me that rifle," Anya said, her voice cutting through the silence in the room. Captain Barnes surprisingly held on to his rifle. "What are you going to do, Lieutenant?" he asked, a clear tone of mockery in his voice. "Your job is to take notes here." Anya narrowed her eyes, looking at Barnes. "Your mission has failed, Captain. Now my mission begins." This challenge further heightened the tension in the room. Major Miller, looking at Anya, was torn. On one hand, protocol. On the other, the collapse of the operation. The Major took a deep breath. "Give me that rifle," he commanded. Captain Barnes, in astonishment, handed the rifle to the Major. The Major, with hesitation, then passed the rifle to Anya. Anya's hands didn't tremble. She took the weapon and set it up in the room, her eyes fixed on the blurred image on the screen. The other snipers watched Anya's movements, feeling both anger and a certain curiosity. "This is suicide," Staff Sergeant Rodriguez whispered. "Making a shot like that is impossible." Anya ignored their whispers. Her eyes had formed a connection with the target. She was meticulously calculating the wind tunnels, air currents, humidity levels. Everything converged in her mind with millimeter precision. Years of her training had been spent battling not just mannequins or targets, but all the harsh conditions of nature.
Anya set up her rifle in the center of the room, while the other snipers and Major Miller held their breath. All eyes were on her every move. On Anya's face, there was a cold composure and certainty they had never seen before. She pressed the rifle scope to her eye, her body seemingly becoming one with the rifle. The image was blurry, the sound of the wind filling the room. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez whispered, "The target is at 2,000 meters, moving, and visibility is 0. It would take a god to make a shot like that." Anya didn't hear these whispers. For her, the only things that existed were the blurred target in the scope and the feel of the trigger under her finger. Her eyes were narrowed, her breathing slow and controlled. In her mind, thousands of data points converged: wind speed, bullet drop, target's movement per second. While everyone talked about her photogenic face, she had dedicated years to wrestling with these numbers and conditions. Her social media poses were merely a facade for the sacrifices she had made for this moment. She was made to take the toughest shots under the harshest conditions. Major Miller watched Anya's movements with admiration. He had never imagined she could be so focused, so lethal. Anya subtly lifted her head and in a calm voice said into the comms, "The wind tunnel will open in 2.3 seconds. The target will remain stationary for 0.7 seconds. That will be our only chance for a shot." The sniper team was stunned. None of them had noticed that tunnel, that window. This was an opportunity that could only be seen with years of observation and analysis, a skill that transcended military doctrines. The silence in the operations room was even more profound than Anya's breathing. Her finger reached for the trigger, gently touching it. When the wind tunnel opened, the image on the screen momentarily cleared. The target was indeed stationary, just as she had said. In Anya's eyes at that moment, there was no hesitation, no fear, only absolute certainty. Contrary to all expectations, she was not just a beauty, but a killing machine. She took a breath for this moment, held it, and pulled the trigger. The rifle gently recoiled against Anya's shoulder. The sound of the shot echoed sharply off the walls of the room. Seconds felt like an eternity. The bullet traveled the 2,000-meter distance in a matter of seconds, while everyone in the room held their breath. On the screen, the thermal image of the target instantly turned black. Confirmation: target neutralized. The room immediately filled with a collective sigh of relief. Captain Barnes, Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, and Sergeant Chen looked at each other in astonishment. This was an impossible shot, and Lieutenant Anya Sharma, whom they had mocked as photogenic, had made it. Major Miller stared at Anya frozen. He could never have imagined her to be so composed, so lethal.
Anya subtly lifted her head and, in a calm voice, said into the comms, "I read the wind, Major. Just read the wind." What she had truly read were her years of overlooked talent, discipline, and determination beyond expectations. While everyone saw her just as a pretty face, she had trained herself to make the deadliest shots. This shot not only neutralized a terrorist leader, but also shattered all prejudices.
With the successful completion of the operation, the tense atmosphere inside the classified center gave way to a stunned silence. Major Miller quickly grabbed the comms. "Operation complete. Target neutralized. Lieutenant Sharma, excellent work." His voice was filled with a mix of exhilaration and disbelief. The other snipers looked at Anya, their faces showing admiration, shame, and a hint of envy. Captain Barnes nodded. "Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable." Staff Sergeant Rodriguez approached Anya and silently shook her hand. "We underestimated you, Lieutenant. I'm truly sorry." Anya met her teammates' gazes. There was no triumph or hint of revenge on her face, only a deep satisfaction. She knew that day not only a target, but also years of prejudices had been taken down. In the post-operation analysis, Anya's shot was recorded as one of the most unforgettable moments in military history. The distance of the shot, the wind conditions, and the target's movement had made it almost impossible. But Anya had made it possible. The next day, Anya received a special briefing. The highest-ranking generals of the Army were discussing her shot and her composure during the operation. It wasn't her beauty that was being talked about, but her skill. One of the generals stated, "Lieutenant Sharma, you are the future of the Army. We need talents like yours." Anya nodded. She knew she had shed the photogenic label the Army had given her. From now on, she would be known as the beauty of a single shot. A week later, Lieutenant Anya Sharma was teaching new sniper recruits at the military base's firing range. Among her students were some of the officers who had previously underestimated her. Now they all listened to her with rapt attention. Anya taught them not just marksmanship techniques, but also how to read the wind, analyze target movement, and most importantly, how to lock onto a target with an unprejudiced mind. "Sometimes," Anya said, "the most important shots are made in front of people who would never trust you because of your appearance. And that moment is when not only the target, but all expectations are shot down." This story proves how deceptive appearances can be, and that the greatest courage can sometimes come from the most unexpected places. True heroes do not live in headlines, but in hearts and in their silent actions. They are the ones who dare to see the truth in the mirror. Share your own story with us. Have you ever been judged by your appearance or witnessed someone rise when no one believed in them? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters. Subscribe to Truth in the Mirror. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories and unexpected transformation moments. Hit the bell icon to be notified instantly of our new videos.